following recording, provided by liveatc.net, contains the final transmissions of the Medevac flight which crashed shortly after takeoff from the Northeast Philadelphia airport.
Medevac Med Service 056 on departure, turn right heading 290, runway 24, clear for takeoff, wind 25010.
Now, this is a standard takeoff clearance in which the tower gives the aircraft its departure heading, the runway it's cleared to take off from, and the current winds at the time. The aircraft in question is identified as Medevac Med Service 056 and is also referred to as Mike Tango Sierra 056 in later transmissions. This aircraft was registered in Mexico under the registration X-Ray Alpha, Uniform Charlie, India.
Medevac Med Service 056 affirmative. On departure, turn right heading 290, runway 24, clear for takeoff.
There was approximately a 20-second gap between the tower's initial transmission and the next communication. Now, unfortunately, my ATC recording is missing the response from the incident aircraft. But based on the tower's reply, we can make an educated guess about what transpired. Most likely, the aircraft requested confirmation regarding its takeoff clearance, possibly the assigned heading after departure, which was 290 degrees. It's common for pilots to request a readback if they missed part of the clearance, though in most cases they capture it the first time. Now, given that this was an incident aircraft, it's worth asking, was something already wrong? Because pilots occasionally seek confirmation, but a 20-second delay after receiving takeoff clearance is a bit unusual. Typically, once cleared, aircraft will begin rolling within a couple of seconds. Could this be an early sign that something was amiss? While it's not definitive, it's something to consider.
Medevac Med Service 056, contact Philly departure 123.8.
From the moment the aircraft received its second takeoff clearance to the time the tower instructed it to contact departure, 1 minute and 40 seconds elapsed. This falls within the normal range for takeoff and initial climb. Typically, after takeoff clearance, an aircraft will start rolling within 10 to 15 seconds, give or take. The takeoff roll itself may last 15 to 20 seconds depending on multiple factors, followed by liftoff. So 30 to 60 seconds after departure, the tower will instruct the aircraft to switch to the departure controller. So in this case, everything appears normal up to this point. The aircraft took off, climbed out, and was handed over to departure. There was no immediate indication of distress.
123.8, Mike Tango Sierra 056 Medevac. Thank you. Good day.
This is the only recorded transmission from the incident aircraft that I have before the crash. A couple of things stand out. First of all, the timing. Roughly 30 seconds after takeoff, everything seems fine. And then I'm also noticing the pilot's tone. His voice does not indicate any stress. In fact, he sounds fairly calm, almost a little bit upbeat, as he acknowledges the instruction to contact departure. However, we do know that just seconds after this transmission, something catastrophic happened. The question is, how did things go wrong so quickly? Because at this point in the flight, no distress call was made, no deviation was noted, and nothing in the ATC recordings suggests an immediate problem.
Medevac Med Service 056, Northeast Tower, contact Philly 123.8.
After instructing the aircraft to switch to departure, the tower expected no further communication with them. The aircraft should have checked in with departure, but 45 seconds later, the tower calls them again, repeating the instruction to contact departure. Why is that? Well, because they never checked in with the departure controller. And most likely what happened, the departure controller reached out to the tower controller asking about the aircraft. Since ATC frequencies are separate, the tower wouldn't know unless departure noticed the aircraft wasn't responding and asked for clarification. Listen to the controller's voice again.
Medevac Med Service 056, Northeast Tower, contact Philly 123.8.
There's a noticeable shift in tone. It's subtle, but there's clear concern. The controller is not just issuing a routine instruction, he is now actively looking for the aircraft. And this is our first real sign on the recordings that something is wrong. At this point, either the aircraft has already crashed, or the pilots were struggling with a catastrophic failure and were unable to communicate with controllers. 20 seconds later, the tower calls again.
Medevac Med Service, Northeast Tower. Medevac Med Service 056, Northeast Tower. You on frequency?
No response. By now, it's highly likely that the aircraft was already down. Interestingly, a few seconds after the controller makes the call, we have the voice of another controller from the original tower.
Medevac Med Tango Sierra 056, Northeast Tower. How do you hear this transmission?
This suggests that multiple people in the tower were involved, possibly troubleshooting the communication failure. So this is a textbook ATC response. They're following protocol, making every attempt to reach the aircraft, hoping for any sign of life, but tragically, we know now why there was no response. Several minutes pass before we hear a separate transmission, this time from another aircraft requesting an update on the airport's status.
What's going on down there?
We have a lost aircraft. We're not exactly sure what happened, so we're trying to figure it out. For now, the field is going to be closed, so no inbounds or outbounds probably.
All right, understand. Thank you.
By this point, the tower is fully aware that the aircraft has crashed, and as expected, they have closed the airfield while they assess the situation and determine the next steps. So this ATC exchange provides valuable insight into how incidents unfold in real time. The initial delay in responding to the takeoff clearance, while not necessarily alarming at first, raises some questions in hindsight. The pilot's last transmission sounded normal, with no distress, yet catastrophe struck within seconds. The tower's repeated calls and the concerned tone in their voices indicated that something had gone terribly wrong. And then, finally, the lack of response confirmed the worst fears. An aircraft was down, and ATC could do nothing but follow protocol and hope for a miracle.